Yo guys, what is going on? JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to the best of Christopher Hitchens. And this is a recommendation. A lot of you guys requested this when I reacted to a video that mentioned Mother Teresa, and there was actually a clip of Christopher Hitchens talking, and a lot of you guys wanted me to check out this. So here we are. Now, before we even start the video, I want to preface the entire reaction and video by saying this is not, there's no sentiment that is like, oh, religious people are bad, or, blah, 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 stuff like that. Personally, guys, I am agnostic, I don't really identify with a specific religion, but I completely respect anyone who does and anyone who doesn't. I have friends of all different types of religions. I respect if you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Jewish. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's just it doesn't matter to me. Now, obviously, other people. This is a very heated debate, and I understand that. I understand that there's a lot of animosity towards people who think differently and who follow different religions. It's kind of human nature, and it's been going on for thousands and thousands of years. So I understand that. Now, what I'm saying is, regardless of your religious beliefs or practices, I think this would be an interesting video for all of us to watch and enjoy, and just enjoy like the aspects of debate and argument. And you can also, what I want you all to do is, at the end of this video, post your perspective in the comments section. What do you think? Did anything change after this video? Do you feel the same way? Or even just at the start right now, what do you guys feel about religion? What do you feel about religion? How do you feel about religion? What is your religion? What are your beliefs regarding religion? I think that'd be super interesting, and I think we can all have a civil conversation in the comments section. But anyways, enough with the very long preface. Let's get right into this and see what Christopher Hitchens has to say. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way, guys, just so you know I'm not pushing some weird narrative. I'm literally just reacting to the stuff you guys want me to react to. That is all this channel is, nothing more than that. So here we go.
These are very serious matters, and they're not to be laughed off by references to the occasional work of Catholic charities. But I draw your attention not just to the apologies, ladies and gentlemen, but to the evasive and euphemistic form that they take. Joseph Ratzinger, the current Pope, considered by some, by Catholics, to be the Vicar of Christ on earth, says of the Indians who were massacred in the course of conversion in Brazil, after the apology had been made to them, he said, nonetheless, it must be remembered that before we came to convert them, they were silently awaiting the arrival of the church. I don't think that's a very genuine kind of apology to you. In his comment, one of the few he's made on the institutionalization of rape and torture and maltreatment of children in Catholic institutions, he said, it's a very severe crisis which involves us, he said, in the following: in the need for applying to these victims the most loving pastoral care. Well, I'm sorry, they've already had that. Yeah. And to say that this is the responsibility laid upon you by the horrific admission that you've already had to make is not accepting responsibility in any adult sense. When I say child abuse was institutional, how dare I say so? How can I prove it? How can I prove such a thing? Well, I'll ask His Grace, and I'll ask Anne Widdecombe. Where is Cardinal Bernard Law now? Where is he? Where is the Cardinal Archbishop of Boston, whose resignation was indignantly demanded, finally, by 50 members of the Church and by the whole laity of Massachusetts, who also demanded his prosecution for the promotion and protection and covering up and apology for and defense of people whose crimes against children are too revolting to specify. And he's not in the jurisdiction of Massachusetts now, as perhaps you know. He's the Supreme Vicar of the Church of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome, personally appointed by the Pope to that as well as many other important sinecures. And in 2005, this man, a fugitive from justice and from complicity in the filthiest crime that it's possible for a human being to imagine, was one of those voting in conclave to decide who the next Vicar of Christ on earth will be.
Oh my God, bro. and there's a lot of truth to that. I actually, a while ago, I watched a documentary regarding the child abuse in Catholic churches in Boston. Like he said, he was in Massachusetts, and it's really bad. I don't care what you identify as. There's no way to justify that. It's disgusting. I don't care, and the apology was not sincere at all, from what I'm taking.
Neither of us can prove or disprove the existence of God. The difference is between us. I don't say that I'm an ordained minister. I don't think I could push it that far. Since you're evidently an agnostic, which is a confession that I'm very welcome to have not extracted from you, but heard you make. Now, here's the question. You say these texts are misused. I say that they are not. The Old Testament says, or does not say, that Abraham was doing a noble thing by offering to sacrifice a son to prove himself loyal to God or to the voices he was hearing in his head. It says there was a noble thing for him to do. He was rewarded for it by a great posterity and a great long life. Offering to murder his son because of hearing voices in his head. This is not moral teaching to me. Is it not the case that the Old Testament says that the Amalekites must all be destroyed down to the last child, every one among them, leave not one? Yes, it does say that. The Bishop of Llandaff, in an argument with Thomas Paine, once said, well, when it says keep the women, as Paine had pointed out, he said, I'm sure God didn't mean just to keep them for immoral purposes. Well, what does the Bishop of Llandaff know about that? It says kill all the men, kill all the children, and keep the virgins. I think I know what they had in mind. I don't think it's moral teaching.
The same euphemism comes in the term some Christians that is used in all the apologies about the Crusades, the Inquisitions, the anti-Semitic pogroms, and all the rest of it. It says some Christians fell into error. Some Christians allowed themselves to be deceived in this way and to act against the gospel. Well, anti-Semitism was preached as an official doctrine of the church until 1964. Do you think that might have something to do with public opinion in Austria and Bavaria and Poland and Lithuania? That the Jewish people were accused collectively as a people of deicide, of the crime of the murder of God in the figure of Jesus of Nazareth. And that anathema on them was not lifted until 64, well after the perpetrators of the Holocaust had stood trial in secular courts and been rightly punished for their actions. How can this church say it has any moral superiority? It has difficulty catching up to what ordinary people regard as common moral and ethical sense, and it still can't make itself apologize properly.
Religion gets...
Yo, these are some tough things to argue with. I'm sorry. What I do have to say about him so far, his voice is just super easy to, like, absorb, or you know what I mean, digest, like, and just the way he speaks, his vocabulary is immense. The words he's using is just, sounds very, like, he doesn't come off as pretentious either. He you know what I mean? I wish I could describe it. Maybe if I had Christopher Hitchens' vocabulary, I'd be able to put it more poetically. He has such a beautiful vocabulary. I've never heard someone speak like this.
From us, I think it's very easy to demonstrate that. I'll do it from one of each of the two testaments.
You back on testaments?
Well,
why don't you write a book of testaments are not
I
great?
spend a lot of time with my Bible, okay? My Bible. I do.
I told you had
or
a
the
bad
Babel,
Sunday
as they
school
call it
teacher.
in Dixie. I do.
In Dixieland.
There's a very famous parable in the New Testament where the alleged Jesus of Nazareth tells a story about a man from Samaria. We call him the Good Samaritan, who, finding a fellow creature in enormous distress and pain, goes well out of his way to alleviate his suffering and to follow up to make sure that his sympathy hasn't been a waste of time, to do the aftercare, if you like. Well, we know one thing about this person from Samaria. He cannot have been a Christian. Jesus is telling this story about someone he's heard of, who acted, as far as we know, from no other prompting with elementary human solidarity. What other prompting do we need? Our species would not have survived. We wouldn't be met here if we didn't have, as well as many selfish instincts, the need, and often for our own sake, to be of use to others, to combine with them, to take an interest in them, to care for them, and to worry when they're
in pain. No supernatural authority, as with the civil rights movement, is required for this. Morality comes from us. Religion claims to have invented it on our behalf. Then, okay, another example from the Older Testament. Is it really to be believed that until they got to the foot of Mount Sinai, the followers of Moses believed that up till then, adultery, murder, theft, and perjury were okay? They're suddenly told, oh, hey, we got some new ideas for you. I don't think so. It's a bit of an insult to the ancient Jewish faith, of which Jacob and I are both rather disgraceful ornaments in our different ways. I think our ancestors were smarter than that, and even if they weren't smarter, they wouldn't have got that far if they'd been under the contrary impression. The golden rule is something you don't have to teach a child. There's no need to say, and if you don't follow this rule, you'll burn in hell forever. That's immoral teaching. Now, I hope I've made myself clear on the, but I'm wondering if I have, because you face me, Reverend, with two very unwelcome thoughts. Either I have been completely inarticulate in everything I've said this evening, or you have misunderstood me. I have to throw myself, or these are not mutually exclusive, and I should have seen that coming.
I like how he's talking with the reverends themselves. It's super interesting. I mean, he did that here as well, but that's as face-to-face
Throw
as it
myself,
gets.
or these are not mutually.
I think that there will be an apology for what happened in Rwanda, the most Catholic country in Africa, one of the most Catholic countries in the world, where priests and nuns and bishops are on trial for inciting from their pulpits and on the church's radio stations and newspapers the massacre of their brothers and sisters. And the papacy was silent on this appalling occasion. And everyone in Rwanda knows it. And there hasn't yet been a properly written apology for that disgrace. Staying in Africa, I think it will one day be admitted with shame that it might have been in error to say that AIDS is bad as a disease, very bad, but not quite as bad as condoms are bad, or not as immoral in the same way. I say it in the presence of His grace, and I say it to His face. The preachings of His church are responsible for the death and suffering and misery of millions of His brother and sister Africans, and He should apologize for it. He should show some shame. Fourth, for condemning my friend Stephen Fry for his nature, for saying you couldn't be a member of our church. You're born in sin. There's a revolting piece of casuistry that's sometimes offered on this point. Yeah, we hate the sin only. We love the sinner. Stephen is, I'm sorry to say, not quite like other girls. It's his nature. Actually, he is like other girls in that he's, when I last checked, absolutely boy mad. He's not being condemned for what he does, he's being condemned for what he is. You're a child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join our church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman. It's obscene. And it comes from a clutch of hysterical, sinister virgins who've already betrayed their charge in the children of their own church. For shame, for shame.
Hey, I gotta say something here. I gotta agree with that. I don't care what, like I said, this is just my point of view, but the whole homophobia thing in the church, it's gotta go. It's gotta go. That ain't it. Just because you're like, bro, gay people have been around since the beginning of time. Like, I just don't understand it. People act like it's some new thing. No. To say someone's gonna go to hell because they're gay, nah, I think you're gonna go to hell. And next time someone says that, just say, nah, actually, I think you're going to hell. Some dumb
Indeed, I believe people when they say that they have experienced miracles. I believe that they think that they have. I think I'm obliged to credit them if it comes to that. As long as they keep it to, if you like, if I can put it like this, modestly as I dare, to themselves.
Chill.
If I believe that I was saved because once a baby boy was born and before mutilated, was made the extraordinary discovery that he'd escaped the female birth canal. His mother was a virgin, or at least her birth canal was only one way. That thus I was a sorry thing, by the way, religion's distaste for these regions, don't you find? And something to put you on your guard. Suppose I thought, okay, now I know that must prove his teachings are true, which it doesn't seem to me that they do, but suppose I did, and I'm going to be saved by it. I think that was a wonderful secret. It would make me happy. It should make me happy. It doesn't make people happy. They can't be happy until I believe it too. My children must be taught this stuff. No, sir, no ma'am, no day, no way, no shape, no form. You keep your illusion private. And I hope it does make you happy, and there's perhaps some reason why it would. But we're told with the Pope's authority to say you can't have a condom comes from his ability to certify a miracle, a disturbance in the natural order. I think it was David Hume who put it slightly vulgarly. This was again about the virgin birth, I think. Which is more likely, that the whole natural order is suspended, or that a Jewish minx should tell a lie?
My question is
Oh my god. Bro, this guy's hilarious. Now, one thing I do have to say about this, obviously it's very one-sided. You know, it's only Christopher Hitchens' arguments. There's no actual debate, and the other side isn't given a chance to speak because it's a compilation of his clever comebacks and arguments. So if you guys want me to react to the other side's argument, I'd definitely be interested in that. And I don't want it to seem like I'm just ganging up on the other side. I want to respect all sides, but some of the arguments he's making, and he's using evidence to back it up. He's not just speaking. Like, he's referencing a lot of different things in everything he says, which I think gives him a lot of validity and credibility, for sure. I mean, he knows his stuff. He actually reads the Bible instead of people who are just like, no, they just completely dismiss everything. He knows what he's talking about.
How you can justify wanting to take something away from people from 95 that gives meaning
whoa. This is the other side. Here we go.
My question is to Christopher is how you can justify wanting to take something away from people from 95 that gives meaning to 95% of the American people and replace it with something that gives meaning to just 5% of the American people.
Well, what an incredibly stupid question.
Hold on. 95% of Americans are not religious. That is not true. Well, maybe here then it was, but if that's what his question was.
First, I've said repeatedly that this stuff cannot be taken away from people. It is their favorite toy, and it will remain so. As Freud said, in The Future of an Illusion, it will remain that way as long as we're afraid of death and have no problem, which is, I think, likely to be quite a long time. Second, I hope I've made it clear that I'm perfectly happy for people to have these toys and to play with them at home and hug them to themselves and so on and share them with other people who come around and play with the toys. So that's absolutely fine. They are not to make me play with these toys. Okay? I will not play with the toys. Don't bring the toys to my house. Don't say my children must play with these toys. Don't say my toys might be a condom. Here we go again. Are not allowed by their toys. I'm not going to have any of that. Enough with clerical and religious bullying and intimidation. Is that finally clear? Have I got that across? Thank you.
Next, quick question.
Yes, Mr. Sharp.
Against
I gotta agree with that. And it's not just, it transcends religion, guys. Imposing your own beliefs upon other people, especially when they're unwilling and just in general, is wrong. You think you're so much better than someone else. Like, it's not even a religion thing, guys. When people think they're so much better and that they know what's right and that you're wrong and that you need to adopt their way of thinking or their way of this, that, and it's done through government, it's done through force, it's been done through force throughout history, it's wrong. It's morally wrong. We all know that. But somehow it still happens. Ugh, I can't stand that. Just think about it. Gay marriage, if we're going to stay on that topic, because that was what was discussed within the video, and that was the start of it. Gay marriage was illegal in United States of America, our model country of the world, just a decade ago, less than a decade ago maybe. That was just recently legalized. That's pretty recent. You know what I mean? That is something that was illegal. You cannot get married. So that's an example of, the Christian mode of thinking being imposed upon all of the American people, regardless of if not they have adopted that, religious faith. Now, I'm not saying, guys, I know it sounds like I'm very angry, but I do have to agree with a lot of the things he's saying here. You know what I mean? There's a lot of truth to that. And that's something I just can't stand for. I hate when people impose themselves upon other people. It's terrible. Keep it to yourself. I don't go around. Let's go.
Yes, Mr. Sharp.
Against the motion, Christopher Hitchens.
Those who ask confessions from other people should be willing to make oneself. I am obsessed with sex. Ever since I discovered that my God-given male member was going to give me no peace, I decided to give it no rest in return. Seems fair to me. Now, two people asked me to be very quick and do world poverty and the Holocaust, and I'll do that. There is only one cure for world poverty that's ever been found or ever will be, and it's very simple. And it can be phrased very simply, too. It's called the empowerment of women. Go to Bangladesh or Bolivia. I have to ask you to hold your applause, though I love you. Go to Bangladesh or Bolivia, give women control over their reproductive cycle, throw in a handful of corn if you can, make them not just the beasts of burden and the beasts of childbearing that they become, and the floor will rise, it just will. It never fails anywhere. Against this one solution, the Catholic Church has set its face. The efforts of the missionary church in the Third World mean more people die, not less. It's as simple as that. More famine, more disease, more ignorance, more random and avoidable death. To the Holocaust, sir. That the church preached that the Jewish people were collectively responsible for the death of Christ until 1964, till nearly 20 years after the Nuremberg trials, may or may not have something to do with the availability of a reservoir of anti-Jewish hatred in countries like Poland, Spain, Italy, Germany, Austria, and elsewhere. I think it does have something to do with it, okay? The Ten Commandments, 3 of them are awe-inspiring. They're about being afraid of a totalitarian figure. 3 of them are ordinary morality. We know of no code of ethics ever found, and the Archbishop bears me out on this, that recommends murder, theft, or perjury. Putting adultery on the same level as that may not be morally advisable. Saying that covetousness should be considered in the same light as a crime, in other words, a thought crime. You're condemned now for something you're thinking, and it may be something that leads you to enterprise and emulation. That's forbidden too. That's very, very iffy, it seems to me, and there's a very iffy part of it which lumps those you mustn't covet in with the animals and the chattels and your property, and those who it lumps in are your women folk. And do you seriously expect to be taken seriously if you say that that commandment that does reduce women to beasts of burden and childbearers and chattel has nothing to do with the appalling position of women, not just in poorer societies, but in ours as well? Again, for shame if you can feel it. Now, unanswered questions. Amazing. I asked, where is Cardinal Law, Bernard Law, and why? I have an authority here. He ducks the question. Anne Widdecombe, sorry, I've got one more thing to say about that. He also says that the church advises against homosexuality. It teaches against it. No, it doesn't. Any more than it teaches against divorce or contraception. Where it can, it bans these things and punishes them and writes them into the criminal code. If all you were doing, sir, ma'am, were offering advice, we could probably be fine with it. No one, though whether they were asked repeatedly, would say whether they thought Stephen Fry, my friend, was in a state of mortal sin or not. They wouldn't tell you. Something about the question brought out their inner coward. Well, I say that homosexuality is not just a form of sex, it's a form of love, and it deserves our respect for that reason. that when my children were young, I'd have been proud to have Stephen as their babysitter, and I'd told them they were lucky. And if anyone came to my door as a babysitter wearing holy orders, I'd call first a cab and then the police. And it's your fault, sir and ma'am, it's your fault that that's true, and that everybody knows it's true. How you can live with it, I don't know. Now, relativism, I thought we were agreed. But Anne Widdecombe says slavery has to be considered in context. What's more relative than that? There were people at the time, Thomas Paine, Benjamin Franklin, there were innumerable humanists and secularists who said slavery is evil. The church wouldn't agree. Now, which is it then? Is it that the church is wrong, or, even more suggestive, that God has not yet revealed that it's wrong to them? Or did God support it all those years and then change his mind? From a beginning point of absurdity, you arrive at a terminal point of absolute moral chaos. And I think you've at least done us the favor of making that plain this evening. God, in short, God did not make man in his own image. It is precisely to the contrary. Mammals and primates made many gods and many churches in their own rival images. And that would explain, if these churches and faiths were invented by primates who are only half a chromosome away from a chimpanzee, which happens to be the case, it would explain a lot, would it not? I can't offer you absolution. Not in my power to do it. Stephen can't offer you absolution. First of all, we believe, we more or less know, there's no such thing. But if you confess your sins specifically, if you name them and don't just make them general, if you do so truly repenting of them, without any purpose of evasion, and if you make a firm purpose of amendment, you might be able still, while there's time, to live with your consciences. I wish you all the luck in the world in pursuing that course of action.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Audience, you've all voted again. Now, the moment of truth panel. Let me remind everybody that before the debate, when everybody came in, this is how you voted. For the motion that the Catholic Church is a force for good in the world, 678. Against the motion, 1,102. And the undecideds, the don't knows, were 346. This is how you voted subsequently. For the motion that the Catholic Church is a force for good, from 678, it's gone to 268.
Whoa!
I'm sorry. Against the motion, it's now 1,876. And you can see that doesn't leave very many don't knows. It's 34 undecided. So commiserations, Archbishop and Anne Widdecombe. Congratulations, Stephen Fry and Christopher Hitchens. Thank you all.
Dude, I don't know who Stephen Fry is or that whole situation, but I think I need to look at that following this video. Oh man, there's so much to unpack and unbundle. I have so many thoughts and feelings that I didn't have at the start of this. I mean, if you guys remember, I still hold those same feelings, you know, that we need to all be civil and respect one another regardless of our beliefs. But I went from saying I'm agnostic in the start, and now I don't see how I could be agnostic after hearing some of those arguments. I mean, I've never heard arguments like that before because they've never been brought to my attention, you know. Religion isn't something that I'm necessarily obsessed with. I don't follow it. I don't care for it in particular. You know, it's not something that's on the front of my mind. But, you know, after that video where Mother Teresa and the clip of Christopher Hitchens, some of you guys told me to check him out, and I clicked, and here we are. So, wow, that's all I have to say. And I want to know in the comment section, for those of you who are religious, first of all, I don't hold any anger or anything like that towards you, as long as you haven't hurt anyone in the name of your religion. What do you think of this video? how do you counter some of those arguments that Christopher Hitchens brought up and some of his talking points and evidence? Obviously, it's a compilation, and not everything he's ever said has been put into this video, so I'm sure there's more. And I don't really know what this intelligence debate is. It seems kind of biased in some ways. You know, obviously, you know, the point is like against the church and stuff. It was, regardless of the show or the debate thing or whatever, Christopher Hitchens was amazing. And that's something that I don't, if you disagree with me that he's an amazing speaker, you got to be crazy. He's just so, the way he speaks is just amazing. That's all I have to say. I don't know, that just got the blood firing in me. I just feel very, I don't know. Oh, that was crazy. Super great video. I'm so glad I checked that out. I think I just need to think about stuff. I can't, obviously these are all, I'm giving you my thoughts as I watch, so you know they're gonna be at emotional highs, emotional lows, but like my heart rate is up, everything. This is just such a crazy video, so thanks so much for all you guys for requesting that. Woo, and yeah, try and be civil in the comment section, but who knows how that's gonna end. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.